I used to write a lot of fiction, fan fiction based on video games. Pretty much that was back in the year 2000 when I wrote a lot of fan fiction around games like Unreal Tournament and Quake. And I remember a story that I wrote back then, and I had all this. It was a short story that was intended to be a complete novel that I never wrote. It was about this detective in the very distant future, like the year 2100 or something like that, in which he was going after a hybrid, a human-alien hybrid. And what was the gist of that environment, of that city they were in? It was this surveillance state in which literally every single wall, every single hall, every part, even inside people's homes, everything was cameras and microphones. So essentially, the state couldn't know what were you doing at any point in time. They couldn't read your mind. I wrote that limitation, luckily for the characters of the story. But you could pay for your privacy. You could pay a fee or a tax, privacy tax, in which, well, you could lower the amount of how the government could follow you everywhere. And it worked. If you were wealthy enough, you could pay for your privacy. That was the privacy economy that I thought that would be the future. And the thing with this hybrid, this human-alien hybrid, is that somehow he was an experiment that he had become kind of invisible to any cameras and microphones. So that's why they were chasing him. And this detective that was an ex-military veteran, he knew how to hunt them. So that was the premise of the story. In fact, I already thought of a movie back then, and the main character, the detective, was going to be played by Russell Crowe, and the hybrid, the human-alien hybrid, was going to be Denzel Washington, and Elizabeth Hurley was going to make an appearance. She was going to be some kind of this super enhanced soldier, a female soldier. It was pretty fun writing it. But I always thought, have always believed that sooner or later we're going to arrive at a point in humanity in which a surveillance state is inevitable. And I can understand that maybe this makes you feel uncomfortable, like having cameras everywhere. Imagine living in a city and you have cameras on the streets, you have cameras at the malls, you have cameras even inside a bathroom and restrooms at some point. We don't know at which point we can arrive at this. Maybe in the restrooms you would have microphones instead of cameras. We don't know, but it is highly likely that's we're going to arrive at that at some point. In many ways, we are living, this is my companion, we are living with actual cameras and microphones all the time. That's why that we are just having a regular conversation and ads pop up on these apps for some reason of what we were talking about, sometimes what we thought about, which is crazy enough. But it's happening. We are arriving at a stage of humanity in which what happened in these days with the murder of the Ukrainian lady on the Charlotte train, which was tragic. I was amazed that you could even listen to the murderer's words after he did what he did. He said, "I got that white girl." And I said, wait a minute. You not only have high definition camera recording, video recording on a train, but you also have audio recording of what is going on. Okay, on one hand, of course, it's amazing because, we had the full evidence of everything that happened, that tragedy. We have the complete evidence. There's no way. The left-wing media is trying to spin that in many ways, of course, saying that is we are steering some kind of racial tension, or we are making this about MAGA or Democrats, whatever. You know how the left-wing media is. But on the other hand, I thought, wait a minute, there's video and audio inside trains, and maybe buses as well, and maybe everywhere else, like sound. So I began to remember that story about living in an environment in which they can record your every move. And now that we are talking about in the UK having digital ID, many people are not aware of what is digital ID. They think that you maybe I got a friend asking me if that was some sort of chip that they're going to insert. No, they don't need to insert any chip in you. Again, the chip, you're carrying the chip yourself everywhere. This is the chip. What is digital ID? Digital ID is a way of you having an app on your phone in which you will be able to have your identification. It's like you have your national ID card, okay, which usually now has biometrics as well, has your biometrics, so your card has your biometrics kind of implanted in the card to make sure that that card belongs to you. And in this case, is a digital version of your ID card in your phone. So basically, that can make your life really easy if you want to pay for services, you want to do some kind of any sort of I don't know, I remember the word in English, trámites, documents, public documents, anything that you want to do. Again, public offices you can do through your the app, and it will be very convenient, right? But at the same time, remember that these tiny devices can also track our location and can listen to us, and they definitely listen to us. So if you have digital ID, it means that the government will not only have you on camera everywhere because of the public cameras and the facial recognition, which is something that we know it's being used, but they are not telling us not to scare people even more. But then they will be able to track your location and know where you are and where are you going. There's a huge problem with this. What if people don't? The same question that you're asking. What if people are wearing a mask? I don't know. They go full COVID and they wear a mask so you cannot recognize their faces. They wear a hoodie, carry a dumb phone, and then don't even have a regular ID, much less a digital ID. You have to sign up for it. If you want to a loan from a bank, you have to sign for digital ID. They're going to push that eventually. So I'm conflicted about this amount of technology being around us, and no chips necessary, no implants necessary. But at some point, the government will be able to track whatever you are. You are watching right now. The government will be able to watch you and me as well. And they will be able to track the criminals as well. But there's a big problem. The big problem is like what's happening in the United States. That the justice system has not caught up with the tech advancements. It means that we have a lot of technology. We have a high quality video in trains and audio in trains. Again, my mind was blown when I realized, okay, there's audio recording in here. But the justice system just lets these monsters tens of times free over and over again. So there's something obviously wrong in here. There's this huge bias in the way that justice is carried. That is a big problem. Because even if we have the technology, I'm going to talk about the technology one last time, these monsters are on camera. Everything is against them. All proof is against them. And the judges will find a way to free them because of mental health or some mumbo jumbo or something like that. That is a big problem. That is a huge problem for law-abiding citizens. And you know that if you are a law-abiding citizen, if you do something that is wrong in their eyes, they will jail you, just like in Germany, that this asylum seeker sexually assaulted a woman, and she got a harsher sentence than him. just because she called him a pig. That happened in Germany. And you know that in the UK, they're jailing people for Facebook posts about migrants. So notice this huge problem. We have the technology to have all the proof we need to put these people in jail, put these monsters away permanently. But the real problem of all our countries is a problem of moral. It would be a human problem. It would be a problem of principles, of biases. Is that this group has to be benefited in some way. We saw that in the UK, that if you are from a marginalized group or a minority, then you will have more lenient sentences, literally, than if you are a UK native. That is an actual thing in the UK. So what I see is, in all cases, as we have the backlash of the police officers, body cams, you know that Democrats in the United States push for police officers to be wearing body cams all the time, so to record police officers being, so harsh with this innocent people and all that. And it was an instant backlash. And now we have a first row seat to what's really going on with police officers every day. And it's not like the Democrats thought. It's the complete opposite. So I'm thinking that this backlash is not only with police officers' body cams, it's also with the cameras and microphones in trains and buses and train stations and everywhere. Because pretty much you can say, oh, this is racist. It's racist just to share these videos. Well, I don't think it's racist to share those videos, because if a white dude stabs a black girl, that video is going to be out there as well. It's just, people are going to share it, and the mainstream media is going to share it much more than what we saw with the Ukrainian girl. So it's odd when sometimes you see this dystopian, when you imagine this dystopian stories, and you write about this dystopian stories, and you think that, oh, this is going to be really bad, this is going to be disturbing, and it ends up being the opposite. But well, I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Battle Language Guy. Much love and bliss.